Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited for this conversation. I know there's going to be lots of gems and nuggets for people to dig into and lots of different angles we can take. So, people have heard the official intro. Let's talk about what Laundry Lady actually is right now, and then we'll go backwards in time and go that way. So, tell us
Yeah,
about Laundry
awesome.
Lady.
So we are a laundry service, so we will come and pick up your washing or ironing and bring it back to you normally the next day. So it saves people, busy mums, busy families, busy professionals, and lots of small business customers, lots of time in doing their laundry because we all hate laundry and it's all very never ending. And we deliver the services through a team of independent contractors. They're our laundry ladies and lads, and they all work from their own home. So they go out and pick up the laundry and then they'll take it back to their home, wash or iron it, and bring it back to you the next day. So it's a really flexible business model that they can tap into under our brand, and we give them all the tools that they need to be able to do that work. And from a tech platform that manages all of the bookings and payments and commission payments and all of that, right through to structures around how they can do the service and marketing and bring them customers and all of that. So it's a really flexible work from home business model that they can be part of, and they can earn really good sustainable income through that model. So they can be earning anywhere between $300 and $3,000 per week, and very consistently. So it's very sustainable, consistent income, depending on how much they want to work. So it's great for that.
Amazing. That's so good. So, where are you? Where is Laundry Lady based?
So we are all over Australia and New Zealand. Our head office is on the Sunshine Coast, so we manage our operations from the sunny Sunshine Coast. But our team are wherever the contractors live, so in all cities, in all states of Australia, and lots of regional areas too. So, and we're adding new locations all of the time. So you just jump on the website and type in your suburb, and you can see who's available in your area and book in with them.
Amazing. I love it. I love so much about this. I love that you're empowering women and men to have businesses from home. Yeah, this is so good. I can't wait to dive in deeper. So tell me, Susan, you haven't always been all over Australia and all over New Zealand. Where did all of this start?
Well, I was the original laundry lady myself. So I had worked in a corporate career for a long time, mostly in marketing and international marketing. And when I became a mum, I was definitely struggling with the work-life balance, as many, women who've had a career and then have kids really struggle with. And I really wanted to create something where I could work from home and be there with my kids and pick them up from school and all of that sort of thing. My son was only about 3 years old, and I couldn't be in an office anymore. And so I did the thing that was the most different to my corporate marketing career, and that was become the original laundry lady. So I literally just had a website, and I went out and picked up laundry in my local area from customers and took it back to them. And from that, I really learned how the business model could work and what customers wanted, what a schedule looked like, who my customers were. But I always really had the vision right from the beginning that I'd one day start to scale it and be able to bring the same opportunity to other women and men. But, particularly at that stage, I was thinking about mums who were having that same work-life balance and needed to bring in income to pay the bills, but also needed to have the flexibility around their kids. So that was really where it started. And quite literally, I was walking past my spare room one day looking at my own pile of laundry and thinking about how much I needed some help, as a working mum on getting on top of that. And so I knew there'd be plenty of customers and who needed help with their laundry. So I dove in and began.
Yeah, I'm laughing right now because I just mentioned before that we've got back from 2 months away and I've got 4 children. So you can imagine what my laundry looks like.
You definitely need to book our services in.
It's all
Book
clean,
it
but I'm
in.
looking at the mountain going, Oh,
Yes.
okay.
There is nothing better than getting your laundry back all folded in neat piles, ready to
Yeah,
just put away. It's
you're right.
it's
It
life
needs to
changing.
happen. It needs to happen. Normally, like the cadence of everything works, but at the moment, no. So I'm sure yeah, you're right. There's lots of other people like me, and clearly. So do you have like on your desk the original? I feel like you need one of those little signs.
The original.
The
Yeah, we
original
do. We do put
OG, the
the
OG
OG
laundry
into some
liner.
of our marketing. Yes, I like
Perfect.
to use that because I think it's cute.
It's very cute. All right. So you're just yourself starting this business, figuring out what customers want, which I think is something that a lot of business owners kind of skip. And I know I've been guilty of this where I hire somebody to put someone in a role that I haven't done that is maybe a brand new section. And because I haven't done it, I can't train them properly. And then, of course, they're really not set up to succeed well. So I just wanted to kind of underscore that step of what you did and what I think a lot of people can think about when they're scaling is really knowing that. Do you want to speak to that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, people often want to just jump to the next phase of business development and skip that early stage because they don't want to get stuck working in the business or whatever it is. But, like I've been raising for investments. I've been talking to a lot of startup businesses who are raising for investment and they want to build the tech and do all these things right up front. But if you don't understand your customer, if you don't know, do they actually want this service? Are they going to use it? How's the pricing going to work? All of those things. So at the time I did feel like I was stuck in the business and it was quite frustrating because I really wanted to get to that next level. But in hindsight now, looking back, that time was so valuable. And that, all of the information I learned in those first 4 or 5 years doing the laundry myself is now a knowledge base that our contractors can access and, and kind of the blueprint of our whole organization. So it was time well spent, even if it didn't feel like that at the time, because I was, couldn't wait to get to the next stage.
I love that you had that big vision from the start. I think not many people do. They're just like, I need some, $500 a week, $1,000 a week kind of thing to come in. And they're often not thinking bigger. Why do you think that you knew from the start?
Oh, look, I think it was definitely about the fact that I was struggling so much with that work-life balance, and I just knew that there were other women, who felt that. My mum's group at the time, we were all struggling with that, and so that was really the core part of it for me, and that's still such a core part of our value is being able to bring that opportunity to people. But in the beginning, my vision was to scale, but it certainly wasn't to scale to this level. So I was really thinking about, I'll find 20 women who want to do this, and that will replace the income that I had. And, that was really where my vision was sort of thinking. Although I did go to a designer. So about 5 years in, I got a digital grant through Queensland government for $5,000. And I decided to take that to a friend who was a developer and said, I want this Uber style platform. And he looked at me and he's like, $5,000 isn't going to get you anything. He's like, even at mates rates, it's going to cost you at least $60,000. I'm like, well, I've got $5,000. And so, he said to me, go and find something off the shelf. And so that was really the point in time where, I started to build the business model of what it has now become. But that was still 5 years into the business. So it was still, a long journey just to get to that point.
So how many laundry ladies and lads are there now?
So we have over 300 in Australia, 300 teams. So sometimes it might be a husband and wife team, or it might be a mum and daughter, or father and son who are doing it, and sometimes it's their whole family. So we have just over 300 laundry lady and lad teams in Australia, and in New Zealand we have about 25. So we've just started in New Zealand. Getting going there.
Good. Oh my gosh. So I love it. Okay. So how did you go from just yourself to begin to build and get additional laundry ladies?
Yeah, so I had no money, literally no money to be able to invest in the business and do any of that. So it was really, how am I going to get to that next level? I feel like I've been at that point a few times in the business, but at that first point, it was getting that $5,000 grant, getting that website integration with a booking platform. So we just used an off-the-shelf platform called Timely, which salons use. It's a booking platform, and it did some of what we needed to do, and then integrated with a whole bunch of other things, and got it set up so that it could be
Sticky
that
tape. I love
automated
how we
process.
sticky tape
It
things
was
together
definitely
initially.
sticky tape. Yes, yes, and we got a very long way with a lot of sticky tape,
Yeah.
bootstrapped all the way.
Let's do
And
that.
yes, and so I got my first 4 contractors. I was living on the Gold Coast then. Most of them were friends of someone's sister or whatever. I think I got someone through Gumtree, and that was great because that was the next learning. So that was the learning of how that model could work. How I was going to set that up, what the legals were around that, how they get their bookings, how I would, manage that and pay and do the ads and things like that. So that was kind of the next phase. And I was still doing the laundry myself during that period of time as well. But then, it's never, I think in business, you think it's this A to B, like, oh my God, you went from this to this amazing, thing, but it's not. It's like, I have this slide in my investment pitch that's a roller coaster, and it shows the business journey over 10 years. It's like valley of death and then up again, and all of these things. And so
like it's hurdles that you jump and
it's so many things.
Face.
It's so many things. Oh my gosh. And I got divorced at that time, and so I became a single mom, and I had moved to the Sunshine Coast, and so everything sort of took this, I had to go back into work full time because I needed income to pay off debts and all of those sorts of things, rebuild my life. And so the laundry lady kept ticking along, but it was really in the background of that. So I stopped doing the laundry and started working full time, but I was still hiring contractors, but I was doing it like in the car on the way to work and doing my ads, late at night, doing the payments, like after work and all of those sorts of things. And I really at that point was struggling with, how am I ever going to go back to, how am I going to leave an income and be able to come back to the business full time? And I think a lot of, startups really struggle in that space because you need to have the income. You can't just not have that. But that the business might have merit and you want to push it along. So there was quite a few years of that, of just thinking, how am I ever going to get back to this? And knowing that it just needed 6 to 12 months of my time and I could really, make it work. And so that kind of came in a bit of a gift horse when COVID hit, because it was like what I'd been hoping for, to be able to go back to the business and start to scale it. And so I knew that at that point it was now or never. I had to just either make it work or not. And so that was 5 years ago. And since then, that's when we've had all of our scale. So I think we had about 8 contractors then, and now we've got 300. So we've grown our revenue. Yes, we've grown our revenue 30 times in that period. So I think we were doing about 200,000 then. Now we're doing we're going to do 8 million in annual revenue this year. So so it's been a big growth journey in that time, and probably the most exciting part of the journey for me, because it was what I'd always been visioning that we were going to get to, and building a team and doing all the things around that. So yeah, it's been exciting.
Yeah. So what has been the most challenging phase of learning for you, do you think? Was it like that initial like 0 to 100, or is everyone feel as hard as the next? Like
everyone feels as hard as the next. I think when you're in it and you haven't done it before, you're like, oh, how do I do this? How do I get to that next phase? And you're always thinking the next phase is going to be easier, and it's not. It's like 10 times harder. But yeah, so I don't know. It's funny because in the beginning it's such a grind. I think you've got to really be in it. You've got to be doing all the things. Like you've got to be answering all the support calls, answering like complaints or dealing with, contractors, recruiting contractors, every little part of the business you've got to be doing. And now I've got a whole team behind me who are doing all of those day-to-day operations. So I'm not, as involved in those on a day-to-day basis anymore. But now it's about, well, what does my leadership look like now? How do I become the CEO and leader that they need as a team, and how do I, fuel our growth rather than focusing on those day-to-day things. So I think you're just constantly evolving and getting to that next stage, and learning. I think it's just about learning all the time. What's the next phase? What am I going to learn to get to that next bit? And getting, feeling confident in yourself that, sometimes I think this is where imposter syndrome starts to come in, where you go, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Someone else knows how to do this so much better. And that's when you've got to shake that off and think, well, I thought that the last time too, and I worked it out. So I can do this on the next phase too.
What would you say? I work with a lot of women who are solo operators, or they have a really small kind of contract team. And there's a lot of fear that keeps them from implementing the systems and the support that they actually need to go to that next level. What would you say to those women? Because you've done that a few times, right? Like often there's a big risk or there's a big leap where you're like, terrifying.
Yeah. And look, I think, what makes it easier for me is thinking everyone feels the exact same way. Like you look around and you think, oh, they know how to do it. They know how to do it so much better, but they actually don't. They've all been through the exact same feelings that you're going through right now. And, you just have to really believe in yourself and shake off those things and just focus on one step at a time, getting through one step at a time. And if you don't know how to do it, just talk to other people and go to events. Like I find I get a lot of value out of going to events and networking and talking to other people and realizing actually I do know more than I think I do. I've got to believe in myself and get to that next stage and the next stage and the next stage. But it's so easy now to just learn. Like we have access to so much information. There's people that you can listen to or talk to, or there's incubator programs that you can go along to. There's all kinds of different motivational things. So yeah, I think it's just believing in yourself, and no one else is any better than what you are. Really, at the end of the day, they might have done the next stage, so they know that better, but once you've done that stage, you'll be ahead of someone else as well. So yeah
I think it's really easy to compare yourself to someone who's further down the road. And I think we can often get stuck in the what if it doesn't work out part.
What if it does? What if it does? I mean, I think sometimes you just got to ask yourself, well, what's the worst thing that can happen here? I used to do Thermomix for a few years, and you had to do sales calls, and I hated it. I hated doing sales calls. It was the absolute worst. But then I just would tell myself, what's the worst that can happen? Like they hang up on me, so be it. Like, what's the damage? Like just do it and then it's done. So yeah, I think it's just, we're our own worst enemies. I think it's like just getting past that and believing in yourself.
Yeah. So was that just innate in you always, do you think? Or did you like tap into networks or mentors or that self-belief aspect?
I think to a degree it is just in me, but also I've still felt imposter syndrome for sure at like lots of stages, and yeah, like I mean, I think it's also hearing from other people in business who say the same thing, that they also have gone through those hard times where they thought, I don't really know how to do it, and then thinking, but you've got this massive, like $100 million business, like you do know how to do it. How could you have never not believed in yourself? So yeah, I think yeah, I don't know where self-belief comes from. It's just you just got to do it.
You just got to do it.
We tell our kids that all the time, right? It's like you've got to tell yourself as well.
Yeah, it's true. How old are your kids, Susan?
So I've my son, two sons, so they're 15 and 10. So the one who was 3 when I started the business is now 15.
Yeah.
So yeah, He likes to tell me that it was all because of him.
It's true. It's actually true. He knows it. He's got the self-belief. You've passed it
He
on
also
well.
likes to tell me I'm really bad at doing laundry. So, he needs a little bit of guidance
Come on
there.
now. Come on now. I think maybe some reviews might say otherwise.
Exactly.
Uh, so how did you navigate that? Because obviously you grew this as your family was growing, and you then became a single mother in the midst of that, which is like the hardest thing on the planet. So how have you thought about or juggled the two of them, the business and motherhood?
It is the hardest job by far. It is so much harder than running a business, looking after the children and trying to, bring them up and be there for them and give them all the support that they need. I think for me, I've just always really involved them as much as possible in the business and, brought them along. Like they know all of my head office team really well. All of my staff have, we've created this business that's a really flexible business for contractors, for our laundry ladies and lads to join. So it was really important to me that those values were also in our head office team, because that was why I left my corporate career. So we in our office, it's very normal to say I'm going to work from home today, because you don't even have to tell me a reason. I don't care. That's completely
Yeah.
normal. And so we have a very work from anywhere kind of policy.
I
Sometimes
love it.
sometimes our mum, like, the people in office just want to be in the office so they can get away from their kids. And we understand that too. So, or they can bring their kids and they can sit in the corner. Like it's just a very, we're not clock watchers at all in our environment. It's very much about outcomes focused instead. So, I've tried to really instill those values in the business. But yeah, it's always a juggle. And if it means that I've got to stop work at 2:30 to go pick them up and drive them to footy practice and do all of that, then, that might mean I've got to work later, or I've got to work on the weekends to make up that time because I've got so many things on. And, I think the word balance is not the best word for us to use, because there is no such thing as balance, but it's about the flexibility of being able to do that. Like I love to be able to do that. I love to be able to pick them up and take them to those things. And I'm fine to work on my, in other times after they've gone to bed or when they're playing their games or whatever it is, and, and work around that. So it's just a very, flexible kind of environment that we work in. And yeah, try and get them excited about the business, which, that like they're boys and they don't really care. But I think deep down, maybe they do. Maybe they do.
Maybe in
Hopefully
another
it's
couple of
instilling
years,
some.
the 15-year-old might be like, oh, there's like different aspects I
Yeah.
can learn.
Well, he is. So we went on Shark Tank about a year and a half ago, and at school he's been in year 10. He's been learning all of, like, they've been doing a Shark Tank thing and doing a business plan and all of this. And so his teacher found out that I had been on Shark Tank, and he was so embarrassed. He didn't want anyone to know. So yeah, one day when we get out of the teen years,
Yeah.
maybe.
Tell me about Shark Tank, Susan.
Oh yeah, so I mean, as seen on Shark Tank is like the most powerful words in your marketing. You just have no idea how, how great that can be for the business. And so the exposure was incredible for us, and continues to be. And it really got us out there on a national scale, and it's helped attract a lot more laundry ladies and lads to join our team, and just really build our profile. And I think, talking like about imposter syndrome before, it's like you're not in business not to tell anyone about it. And so any opportunity you get to go and tell people about it, you should do that. And so that was really, what the whole experience was about. But I hadn't really thought in the lead up to it how terrifying actually going in and filming for national TV was going to be. And I had to go there completely on my own. And so it was, yeah, the most terrifying experience ever, but worth it.
Did you like sleep for a week after that?
Oh my gosh, I actually was really sick. I had tonsillitis, and I just was, it was the most terrifying thing. Like my heartbeat was beating so fast. I just thought, oh, they're going to hear it through the microphone. Like, it was just so intense. And I was just the whole time thinking, what the hell was I thinking? Why would I sign up for this?
Why am I here?
I'd never actually pitched the business before like that either. Like now I've because I've been raising for investment, I've pitched a lot of times and I'm very confident with that. But at the time I'd never done that. I'd never really, taken that side of the business externally. And so, yeah, it was really, really a lot of experience all wrapped into one.
So what was the outcome? How does that even work?
Yeah, so on the episode we had an offer of $1 million investment in the business. I can't say what happened after that in terms of if we took the investment or not, but I can confirm to you that I am still the 100% shareholder of the business, and we're taking on investment at the moment. So we're sort of 2 years down the track from when we filmed that. So the business is kind of just on our own grown like almost 3 times since then. So
Amazing.
yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've grown fast.
We've grown fast. Yeah.
Really fast. Like, yeah, I imagine you like got your seatbelt strapped on, you're holding on.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah.
It can be really exhausting and things like that to grow fast, but I've got a really great team, and I think that's a really important thing as you grow and scale a business, is to have a good team behind you, and and feel that you can feel confident in
Yeah.
giving all the tasks to, and so and I do feel that. I feel like we, because we're so values driven, that all the people who've joined me are very aligned to those values, and I think that's what makes the difference in our team culture and in building the business. So yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like you've got really great systems in place that are actually scalable. I've had another conversation with someone who went on, I don't know if it was Shark Tank or a similar program, and they weren't ready for the exposure. And then it kind of, tanked everything. It took them a while to then recover from not that deliverability perspective. So it sounds like you've really got like all of that time that you spent nutting it out and getting those systems right has really paid off.
Yeah, and that all comes down to those first 5 years working in the business. Like, that was just the best systems development you could possibly do, actually working in the business and seeing that. And look, we were still using that off the shelf platform at that point in time. We were actually still using that until a year ago, and that was definitely challenging. We had definitely outgrown that, and we needed to build our own tech, and that was also very challenging because we didn't have the money to do that, and it's a lot of time, and you've got to find developers that you can work with and all of those sorts of things. But we did finally get that, and we launched that a year ago, and then it feels like we've almost been a startup again since then, because it was reorganizing our whole business around that to get it really, really systemized so that we can scale and grow. And now we've gone international into New Zealand, and our plans are to also go into the US and Canada soon. And if we didn't have all of those systems in place, we wouldn't even be able to think about those things. So yeah.
I love so much about what you're doing, Susan, because I was the same as you. I quit when I was declined flexi time from my employer, and I lived 2 hours away. So after my second baby, and I was like, well, I'm not going to leave work when my kids are asleep and come home when my kids are asleep. Like, that's not why I am having children. So I started my own business. So I know that there's a lot of women like that, right? And it sounds like both inside your corporate side and like, the head office, and on the contractor side, you're really supporting women in that way. And I just want to like acknowledge it and say thank you. And do you know what I mean? Really just be cheering you on in that, because it is so important that
it is. And I think unless you've gone through it yourself, you don't really understand the pain of that. And I had definitely experienced that in my career. I was in a workplace where there was really flexible arrangements in place, but you don't always have a boss who's actually happy to give you those flexible arrangements. And and it was just, I really struggled so hard with that. And then when I went back to work again, I sort of I sort of went full circle again back into that same mode again, and which, reinforced all of those things of like, like travel time and trying to get to daycare before it shuts, and
Yeah.
missing something at school because you're too scared to ask your boss for permission, or your boss just not giving you permission to go to something that was really important to you. All of
Yeah.
those things are just so silly, I think, in workplaces. Like, obviously there's some workplaces where you need to be there, for certain, customer facing and things like that, but for the majority of workplaces, you don't need to be. And I think we need to be more flexible in how we work and operate. And like, certainly COVID's brought a lot more of that, but now people are starting to try to pull it back. And
It's way pulled
yeah,
back. Yeah. I think what you said
yeah,
about being outcomes focused is so important. And it's like way too many businesses are focused on hourly bum on seat, not productivity, not outcomes. Like it's
which
ridiculous
you're
when you
probably
think
just
about
sitting
it.
there, like doing your online shopping anyway, making it look like you're working,
Seriously,
like,
chatting, making
I've been
another
in
coffee in the
workplaces, I
kitchen for
know.
20 minutes. Like,
Exactly. It's so wasteful, and it just doesn't actually produce good outcomes from people, I think. Like, I just think that, and look, there are some staff who can't handle that kind of flexibility for sure, but they're not the people that we attract to the business. We attract the people who get that flexibility and appreciate it and know what it means to them. And my recruitment manager was just living in Bali for 3 months with her family and still working every day, and getting and recruiting new team members every day. And my operations manager, who manages all of our day-to-day operations, he lives in Bali for a month as well. So it's really like, I think if you have those, that in place as part of your culture, then you do get good results from it.
yeah.
And we love that as
Well
moms, right?
done.
Like, my son often complains to me that I'm looking at my phone in the car as I'm dropping him somewhere. I'm like, yes, but this means I can drop you.
Yeah.
So, that's why I think it's important to have that flexibility.
Totally. And I think just going back to something you said earlier too, when working around them and working at night, I think a lot of people feel like that. I know I did initially. I felt this guilt that I was working at night or weekends, like I wasn't doing it right, or that had this broken business model or something. I was like, no, hang on, because then I spent the whole day at the beach with my kids. Like, this is a choice and this is a good thing. So I really had to switch my mindset
Switch your
around it.
brain.
And I think when
Yeah,
we're so
yeah,
conditioned 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, like it's just
exactly.
we can totally break out of that. And yeah, so well done for actually championing that in a bigger space with an office and like
Yes.
that. So well done and thank you. For I hope there's
Thanks.
more people listening and that actually I hope that becomes the norm, truly.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Look, if you hear swearing in the background of my my podcast or video calls, because it's like, and hear some random language like skibbity, toilet, whatever, that's my children playing Fortnite, and that is my norm. So I will be in meetings with investors and whoever, and you will hear
Yeah.
that in the background. I do try to keep them away from podcast recordings, but that should be our norm. Like, who cares if you can hear that? It's
it's
just
life. It's real.
it's life, exactly.
So let's talk a little bit more about the investor side. So you're in that process right now. What's the feedback that you're getting in terms of like bigger picture about the elements of a brand or a business that is appealing to investors? Like, what makes a business or a brand that people want to invest in that capacity to go into an entirely new continent?
Oh my gosh, I could talk about this all day. It's like, it's such a big process, and it's daunting, and it's challenging, and it's harder than you would ever think it's going to be. And I think if you are thinking about going down the investment path, get someone to help you through that path, because it is a lot. I think the most important thing is understanding why you want investment, and who is going to be the best person to give that investment, because there's different levels of investment. there's VCs, and VCs want a very particular type of business. They want a B2B SaaS platform type of model, and you know, and or from a specific industry, and they might tell you they're going to look at other things, but that's, you know, really what they want. And the sooner you understand what that looks like, the easier it will make it for who to go to. For us, we didn't really fit the VC mold, and so it's been really about talking to angel investors, which you know is great. It's been an amazing experience to get external view of your business. That can also be a lot to hear when you're hearing all of these different people tell you different opinions. And I keep saying that it's kind of like when you become a new mum and you get so many people saying to you, do this, feed this way, feed at this time, do this routine, and all of these things. And you read all the books, and then you get so overwhelmed, and you get to a point where you're like, I'm just going to block out everybody and go with my gut and decide, and, you know that this is how I'm going to do this. And I think, you know, in business and, you know, going through that process, it's been very much like that for me. It's like, yes, they've all got great opinions, but they're all still coming from their own space. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's my business. I know what it's about and what it's here for. And that's all good advice to listen to, but it's also, you know, really important to listen to your own gut. But yeah, I think investors definitely love, you know, particularly for early stage investment, they want to know, they want to believe in the founder, right? So I think that's a really, you know, good big part of it. But and that really comes down to the founder understanding why they do it and being, you know, really tied to those values of why they want to do that business. And, you know, as we've talked about the values in our business a lot, like that is such a critical part for me, that's really easy for me to talk about, because, you know, it's the whole business is based on that. And if the investor doesn't think that that's a good idea or believe in that, then they're not going to be the right investor anyway. So, you know, really understanding that, I think, is the key. But yeah, it's been a long journey. So
Yeah.
I've definitely got a lot of scars from it. I'm going to write a book just
I
about
bet.
that, I think.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can imagine having all, like, you'd really have to get every piece of advice and like hold it up to the light and be like, okay, is it going on the shelf? Is it going in the bin? Or am I like actually implementing
Totally.
that?
Totally.
And
Yes.
be really, make sure you have to like prepare yourself before you go in, put on your
Yeah,
armor.
you've got to be ready. You've got to be ready. And, you know, I don't think I would have been ready a few years earlier. I think it probably would have broken me, but I think it was the right time for me and the right time to hear all of those things. And it has been really valuable too, because, you know, different people have different lenses that can really help you think about it in a different way, or reinforce that, no, I don't want to think about it that way. I want to think about it this way. So, yeah, so it's been a really good learning experience.
Yeah, I bet. So then, as you're preparing to go into new markets, and even as you're going into New Zealand now, is the focus on brand and visibility? Like, what's the main focus when you decide to go into a new area like that?
Yeah, brand is such an important part of the marketing, you know, having a really great brand story. And for us, our brand story really resonates with both. It comes down to that flexibility of why I started, and that resonates with both our customers who want to help getting their on top of their laundry, and it helps, you know, with our find contractors, because they resonate with my story and think, oh, you know, I need that as well. Or so having that as part of it, and which means I am, you know, part of that brand story, and so putting myself out there, which again is not always my comfort zone, but, you know, you get better at it the more you do it. So that's something that I've definitely had to put myself at the center of. And I think also just really building community and focusing on community. I think that's a really important part of marketing now. Like, marketing's so different to when I pivoted in my corporate career, and even the delivery methods are different. Everything's different about it. But, you know, I think having you know, really involving creating community around your brand is really important now.
How do you do that? What does that look like practically?
Yeah, look, I think it's not something that it's just an easy thing that you can go, let's build community today. It's something that you've got to really do over time. And again, I think it just really comes down to your values and understanding those at that, you know, really like deep level, because if you can build that and talk about that, then community will get behind that, and the community will resonate with that, will get behind that. Like it's having all of the platforms, and it's being active in all of those things, and doing all of the strategy, the marketing strategies around that. But if you don't have those core parts of values within your brand, then it doesn't come.
Yeah, so when you talk about marketing and the visibility and that story of flexibility, you said it resonates with both the contractors and the customers. How do you think about your marketing with those two audiences? Like, because really you've got the two clients, right? Like the contractors you want to market to them, and you obviously want to build that network, and you want the visibility for them so that they have the work to do. So how do you think about that as the two audiences?
Yeah, we have campaigns that are specific to each audience running all of the time, and that's very much based on location of where we need more contractors, where we need more customers. But again, they tend to be the same person a lot. It might be that it's a woman with a family who needs to have an income and flexibility who becomes the contractor, but that same type of person might also just be working full time but need help with their laundry. So it does tend to be the same person. So certainly, our marketing really works across both audiences, which I think is what's really helped us in building our business. But yeah, we certainly have messages that's dedicated to both of those audiences as well.
Sorry to nerd out a little bit. I don't know if you know, I have a marketing agency, so my mind goes like,
how do you do that?
Well, and to just talk about the fact that that's a thing. I think often people can struggle with if they've got even different products, like what percentage do I talk to that people at the earlier stage, and what percentage do I speak to who are at the later stage? And sometimes they can feel torn between the two. So I really appreciate that you spoke about running both concurrently and really looking at business need, because I think both of those things apply to all of us. And so thanks for speaking to that and kind of pausing on that nitty gritty a little bit longer.
Being in a market, like we're a two-sided marketplace, and that's really hard because it's is it the chicken or egg? Which one do you go for first? Which is different to if you've got a product business and you can promote both at the same time. For us, like there's no point in getting the customer if there's no one to book them in with, because there's no service for them. So for us, it's really about getting that contractor in place first. But this is something we look at every week in our data and go through and work out, where do we put more ad spend, where do we turn it off? And we do all of that internally, because we've got to be able to manage it on that on a reactive basis all of the time to what's happening in the data and reporting and things like that. So yeah, it's like marketing has become very data analytical compared to back in the day. So yeah, before Facebook. When I was doing marketing in corporate, it was before Facebook. So yeah, it's a learning all of the time, because Facebook changes all of the time. Gosh. And
Susan, I'm in there like every day, and every 3 weeks I'm like, hang on, where did they put that thing today? Like
I can't even log in half the time. I'm like, wait, they've changed the login again. Where do you get in?
We love it and we hate it. It's okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So is there anything else that we've missed that you think that our audience would benefit hearing from you, or anything that you kind of wanted to leave people with?
Look, I think, whatever stage you're at in business, like just do it. Just keep going. Just keep going to get to the next step, whatever that looks like for you. I think, it's just don't get caught up in your own head thinking I can't do it, or I can't do that next thing, or am I good enough to do this, or I need money to do this, or just do it and get to that next step. And and if you're really, really scared on your own, like you can tap into something like us, where there's a business model that's already part of that. You can, we do all the hard bits for people, which is then they can start earning, fast. And that's what, we love about our business model too, because some of some of our contractors might be, studying nursing or, doing something else
Mm.
that they really like want to get to, but this can give them that opportunity as well financially. So yeah, I think it's just do it. What you don't have any time to waste in life. Just get onto it.
I love it. I love a doer. And I love that you do the marketing for them. I mean, of course, they're going to be spreading the word and, putting that out there. And I know that you support them in that. But all of they don't even have to think about Facebook ads. They can just
Yeah,
leave
exactly.
that,
Because it's
leave that to the
such a hard
pros.
space. Why do they want to? They can't. They don't have the time or money to be wasting on that. And also all the business support tools that we can give them. Like they don't want to be wasting time working out how do I
Yeah.
sign up for invoicing and how do I charge the pricing and how do I do all of these
Yeah.
things. Like we've got all of that there for them. It's all
Yep.
just easy. They can tap in. They can start earning and and then be there with their kids or whatever flexibility it is. Some of them are looking after elderly parents or all sorts of things, and that's what keeps me going in business when I have hard days and whatever it is, because I think about their stories, and then they often write in and say how much they love being part of that. And so yeah, that's a pretty cool thing to be part of.
You could have some fun parties.
Yes. We do love parties.
Mostly women would be fun. Not that men
Yes.
aren't fun. We love men too, but just thinking about all
We have
these
lots of
mamas.
laundry lads too. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we love the lads. Oh, thank you, Susan. I've really enjoyed chatting with you, and thank you for your honesty and just being willing to, tell us the full story, pull back the curtain a little bit, and share your journey, because I think that's how we learn. We learn from people at different stages from us who are willing to, actually tell the truth about the ups and the downs and the experience, and to give that encouraging word. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been a great chat.
Yeah, it's been fun, and cheering you on. All the best. Maybe we'll catch up in another couple of years and you'll tell us all about the American
The
side
next
of
bit. Yes. That'll be a whole new learning journey.
Indeed. Well, thank you very, very much. And yeah, all the best.
Thank you.